The reason why dating feels like a job interview is because dating is a job interview. And I'll prove it to you through an argument by analogy. Imagine, imagine you are a business owner and in my hand is a set of business problems that either you can't solve or you can't solve as easily as someone else can. So now you have a new problem that can only be solved by introducing a new relationship into your life. Specifically, you got to hire an employee. So step one is make sure you understand the set of business problems that you have so that you can then, step two, create a mental model of the ideal employee. This ideal employee is a certain set of skills, resources, psychological attributes that will empower him or her to solve your business problems. Do you have that in mind? Good. Now you create a job description and you send it out into the world, and now we wait. Let's say you get 100 resumes applying for this job. We all know nobody reads our resumes, right? Those resumes get sent through an automatic software package that looks for reasons to disqualify your resume. It's nothing personal, it's just business. So let's say 50 resumes were disqualified because they didn't list the 5 core skills that were outlined in the job description, right? So you have 100 resumes get narrowed down to 50 resumes through the application funnel. And those 50 resumes, you can actually read through, you can make some phone calls, contact some references. And let's say you do that and you narrow it down to 10 resumes. Now, 10 resumes is manageable. You can interview 10 people, make a day of it. So you do. Now you have 10 different people you need to interview for the job. You interview the first person, the first job candidate, and you look at the 5 core skills, right? Ranked from first most important to the fifth most important. And for the first skill, let's say they score a 10 out of 10. Beautiful, chef's kiss. But then skills 2 through 5 score like a 6 out of 10. Ooh, it's kind of unbalanced. It's also unideal. Doesn't match our ideal employee. So you interview the second person, and let's say they score an 8 out of 10 on the first skill, and skills 2 through 5 score like a 7 out of 10. Okay, this person's a little more well-rounded, but again, there's a misalignment between their particular skill set and the ideal employee. And so you interview all other employees, and you've come to realize that no one is perfect. Now you have a choice to make. Either you hire one of these 10 people, or you don't. You continue to run this business on your own, probably into the ground. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you decide to hire one of these people, but how do you go about that decision process? That brings us to an optimization problem. Optimization, it's a word we all know, it gets thrown around a lot. You probably first heard it used by Tim Ferriss. Optimization is a term that originates in the mathematics. Optimization is the maximization or minimization of a set of variables subject to a constraint. So it's a cost-benefit analysis subject to your limits on that analysis. So it's applied to the interview process because we will be applying it as well to the dating process. You basically want to maximize the number of skills and the competency of those skills that any given candidate has while minimizing the cost you incur by hiring that person, because no one's perfect, subject to the constraint of the number of quality applicants you are able to attract. That's how you loosen or tighten the constraint. If you're an extremely attractive employer or sexual partner, you can attract more people at the top of that interview funnel or dating funnel. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, you're an asshole boss, right? You're a toxic boss and you promote a toxic work culture, and that's why you attracted 100 resumes at the top of the funnel instead of 1,000, let's say, right? So you have 10 people to choose from, and let's say you look at candidate number 7. Candidate number 7 has a big benefit. You're able to minimize the cost such that you get 90% of what you want from this job candidate, right? And you can train him or her to do the other 10%, right? Great. That's a win. You minimize the cost, you maximize the benefits. Awesome. So you hire that person, you look at the other 9 people and say, you can all just fuck off in that direction. It's nothing personal, it's just business. All right, so that's the theoretical framework, the process that you're all familiar with when it comes to hiring someone. Now you're probably asking, Alexander, what does this have to do with dating? The dating process and the interview process is exactly the same. That's my initial claim. Just make 3 simple substitutions and look what happens. Replace the term ideal job candidate with ideal romantic/sexual partner. Replace the word interview with the word dating. Replace the word cost with the word settling. You make those 3 simple cosmetic substitutions And what you realize is that it is the exact same process. You're playing the exact same game. Don't believe me? Let's go through the entire process again, but from a dating perspective. Step one, you have a set of personally relevant goals that either you can't solve or you can't solve as easily as someone else can. Now, these goals or slash problems tend to be gendered. If you're a man, you need someone to have sex with. If you're a woman, traditionally you want a man with enough money to provide you with an emotionally compelling lifestyle. These aren't the only things that these two populations look for in the aggregate, and it may or may not be the things you look for as an individual, or it may be ranked differently. It may not be the first thing you're looking for, but maybe the second or third. The details are important. What's important is that you have a set of problems slash goals that you can't easily solve on your own, or you can't solve at all on your own. So this requires the introduction of a new relationship in your life. So first, you understand what those problems are, those personally relevant goals slash problems, so that you can second create a mental model of your ideal romantic partner. Someone's going to come in and make your life a little easier, right? So do you have that person in mind? Of course you do. We all do. So you have that person in mind, but you don't send a job description out to the world. You don't just create that list and send it out to LinkedIn, although you could do that in a dating app, which brings us to dating environments, right? So now you have that person in mind, you go into the world, you're a savvy dater, because you know that different people self-select to date in different environments. And different environments will tend to attract different kinds of people. For example, a gym opposed to a nightclub, opposed to a Saturday morning 8 a.m. running club, opposed to a tennis club, a chess club, a dance club, a country club. Different environments attracts different types of people, and depending upon who you want to attract, you're going to date in one environment and not in the other. There's a lot I can say about dating environments and dating strategies, but that's outside the scope of this video. But if you want to hear more about that, go ahead and leave a comment, dating strategically, and I'll know what to do. So let's say you go into the world and you attract X number of people at the top of the dating funnel. Let's say you even go on a dating app. And if you're an exceptionally attractive man or woman, maybe you have hundreds of people at the top of that funnel, maybe even 1,000. But you can't date all 1,000. You can't date all 100. You probably wouldn't want to date all 50 of them, whatever that number may be. And so you find reasons to eliminate people from the dating process. It's nothing personal, it's just business. So let's say you get to the bottom of the dating funnel and you have 3, 5, 7, 10 people you're actively dating. That's manageable. So just like in the interview process, you have a dating process, cup of coffee, a game of tennis, grab a drink, whatever you're into, whatever you happen to be looking for. But just like in the interview problem, we find that any particular person doesn't exactly match the ideal romantic partner that you built in your head, right? So how do you select one person from these 10 applicants? Sorry, I say applicants, I mean dates. You can either select one of these 10 people, or you can just continue being single and living with your dog or cat. Both choices are great, but for the sake of argument, let's say you pick one of these people. How do you go about the selection process? Here's that word again, optimization. You want to maximize the alignment between this particular individual and your ideal partner while minimizing the disalignment, subject to the constraint of what you are able to attract in the first place. Think back to our asshole boss who promotes a toxic work culture. Had he or she been a better human being running a better business, maybe he or she could have attracted 1,000 resumes instead of 100 resumes at the top of the funnel. Well, how attractive are you? Depending on how attractive you are, and attraction is multidimensional. There's a lot of things that make a man or woman attractive. There's a lot I can say about this, but it's outside the scope of this video. But if you want to hear more about it, go ahead and drop the comment, attractive, and I'll know what to do. So if you're more attractive, you can increase the number of people that go through your interview funnel. So attraction levels is how you relax or increase your constraint. Now, for the sake of argument, let's say you find someone, it's date number 9. All right, day number 9 allows me to perform this maximization, minimization operation such that I get 90% of what I want. Now, if you get 90% of what you want, that's going to feel like an unequivocal win. It's great. Congratulations. You're an incredibly attractive individual. You've attracted your ideal partner. Now, off you go. As for the other 9 people, you can all fuck off in that direction. It's nothing personal. It's just business. And that's it. That is how the dating process is identical to the interview process. If dating feels like a job interview, it is because dating is a job interview. It's the exact same game. Now, if you're not able to minimize that cost in the optimization process, Let's say you don't get 90% of what you want. Let's say you get 70% of what you want. Maybe even 65% of what you want. Ooh, that's going to feel like settling. That's going to feel like settling. And nobody wants to feel like they're settling. Everyone wants to feel like they're getting the best deal they could possibly get. Whether it's a cheeseburger or a romantic partner, you want to get the highest quality product you can get, or person, the highest quality deal you can get. And again, you do that by maximizing your levels of attraction. Now, that's it. That's the argument by analogy. Now that you understand that, I want to leave you with 3 different tips to make this knowledge more actionable in your life, right? I want to empower you. And I'm going to do that in 3 ways. Number 1, you have to realize that dating, much like the interview process, is a game in a technical sense. And when I say game, I mean there are goals, there are rules to play by, there are players in the game, there are rewards, there are penalties, there are resources, there are resource constraints. It's a game. Everything I just said is true about Monopoly, and it's true about dating, and it's true about interviews, right? Now that you know it's a game, you have 3 options. 1, you can choose to not play the game, whatever that might mean to you. 2, you can choose to play the game poorly. You can choose to play the game suboptimally. Or 3, you can choose to play to win, right? You want to maximize the benefits. You want to make a conscious effort to get the best possible outcome from that optimization process. It's a game. Play to win. Tip number 2 is the optimization process itself. As I mentioned earlier, optimization is the maximization or minimization of a set of variables, basically the alignment between an individual and your ideal model of an ideal partner, subject to the constraint of what you're able to attract. If you want to make yourself more attractive, essentially you need to acquire more power. Attraction is a form of power. And what is power? Power is the capacity to get what you want. Power is the capacity to achieve your goals. That's all it is. Attraction is a form of power. If you want to be happy in life, you need to acquire more power. That's the secret sauce. Tip number 3. If you made it this far, I suspect you might feel some kind of way about this. This whole analysis might have a negative emotional valence, vroom, 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 floating around it. And I get it. I've been there. Here's my tip for you. If you're using language like soulmate, kindred spirits, the special one, there's only one true person out there meant for me, and I just need to go out into the world and find them. I want you to get comfortable with the idea of disillusionment. These are all comforting illusions. They don't exist. They're not real. But look, I'm not being bitter or cynical. Let me tell you, romanticism is my favorite illusion. I'll say that again. Romanticism is my favorite illusion. But to help you understand and wrap your mind around this, think about the analogy of alcohol. It's okay to indulge in alcohol as long as you indulge responsibly, as long as you don't lose yourself and go deep, deep, deep down into a downward spiral of drunkenness where you start to live a delusional life. The same can be said about romanticism and these ideas about true, kindred spirits and true loves and all of that. These are comforting illusions. Indulge in them. Why not? Life's short. Live your life. Have some fun. Take the edge off. But just know what you're doing and indulge responsibly with illusions as you would with alcohol. Now, here's the final thought. My goal here is not to tell you what to think. My goal here is to show you how to think, how to provide this analysis, how to go thinking about conceptualizing games and how to play to win. All right, so if you made it this far, I'd really, really appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, share the video, leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll keep the videos coming.